Alright guys, video number 2 for Dungeons and Dragons. So today I'm going to focus on spell casting, specifically listing your spells out on your spell casting sheet from your character sheet in a way that makes sense. There's 3 major kinds of spellcasters insofar as knowing and preparing spells. A lot of people get confused with preparing spells versus knowing spells and using spell slots. Like, if what I just said confused you, this is the right video to watch. So I'm going to start with the wizard. The wizard is kind of the only spellcaster that works the way a wizard does. The other 2 types of spellcasters have more options insofar as classes. But so the wizard, it says at level 1, you have, 3 cantrips, which are those 0 level spells that you can cast any number of times each day. So I've given this wizard Acid Splash, Chill Touch, and Poison Spray. So she knows these spells. She can cast them over and over and over again every day and just for free. I think a lot of people understand the idea of cantrips. Now, it also says at level 1 as a wizard, you have 6 first level spells in your spell book. Okay, 6 first level spells in your spell book. So I've got these 6 spells laid out: Burning Hands, False Life, Feather Fall, Find Familiar, Magic Missile, and Ray of Sickness. So, of those 6, it says you can prepare a number of spells equal to your spellcasting modifier plus your wizard level. In this case, our wizard level is 1. And I've given her, just for these purposes of this video, an intelligence of 16, which makes her spellcasting modifier a +3. So modifier of 3, level of 1. From these 6 spells, we can prepare 4 of them. Okay, so that's where these bubbles come in. Let's say today I want to prepare Burning Hands, False Life, might need a little extra help. Magic Missile, always going to prepare that one because it's useful. And I know that, hey, today we're going to be traveling up into the mountains. So Featherfall might be useful in case somebody falls off a cliff. Now, that means today I have 2 spell slots available as a first level wizard. I can cast any of these 4 spells in a combination of 2 times. I could cast Burning Hands twice. I could cast False Life once and Magic Missile once, and those are my 2 spell slots for the day. But for today, these 4 spells are the ones from which I can choose. That's preparing spells. Now, as a wizard, you also have the option, if you have a ritual spell, like if you go look up Find Familiar in the player's handbook, it will say ritual. It's a ritual spell. So as a wizard, that means I don't have to have it prepared in order to cast it as a ritual. So ritual spells just means whatever the casting time says, whether it's an action or a bonus action or 10 minutes or an hour, whatever the casting time is, if you cast or if you take an extra 10 minutes to cast it, it's a ritual and it does not take up one of your spell slots. So this little section, all I do there is when I cast a spell, I make a little slash mark, which means, hey, I've cast 1 spell today. I have 1 spell slot left. And so I know that later. And then later I'll be like, hey, I cast my other spell for the day. I'm done. All I have is regular attacks and cantrips. And then obviously when I take a long rest, I get rid of those and I can start over. So that's spellcasting at level 1. And each day, each time you take a long rest, you can re-prepare. Say you take a long rest and you're like, today I need Ray of Sickness. Still love Magic Missile. We're done with the mountains. I don't need Featherfall, so I'm going to take False Life and Burning Hands. So you can re-prepare those 4 spells every day. Now, as a wizard, when you level up, every time you level up, you get 2 spells added to your spell book. and they have to be of a level that you can cast. So we'll say she's now level 2. So she gains 2 new spells, and it's still only first level. So we'll say, I've been in battle a lot more than I need to be. I'd like that shield. And hey, I've found a lot of stuff recently, so I'm going to take Tensor's Floating Disc. Boom. Also, our number of spell slots at level 2 has increased to 3. So now you can cast those spells in any combination of 3 times per day. And also, Tensor's Floating Disc is also a ritual. Now, your number of prepared spells has also gone up by 1. Because number of spells you can prepare is your spellcasting modifier plus your wizard level, which is now 2. So with a 16 intelligence, your spell modifier is 3. Your wizard level is 2. So of these now 8 spells, you can prepare 5 of them for the day ahead. So, boom. Shield is useful in case I get into more battle. Featherfall, it turned out rather more useful than I thought it would be. Burning Hands when people get too close, and Ray of Sickness. Well, I might think to myself, hey, I don't want to spend 10 minutes casting Tensor's Floating Disc, so I'm going to take that as a prepared spell, which means I can cast it as an action instead of taking the extra 10 minutes. So there's my 5 spells for today. And for this video, I'm going to go ahead and take this up to level 3. So at level 3, again, we gain 2 more spells, but now we have 4 slots here, and we have access to second level spells. So at level 3, again, just by leveling up as a wizard, I get to add 2 more spells to my spell book, and they can be of levels 1 or 2. So I think to myself, I've seen some useful level 2 spells, so I'm going to take this. Let's go with Alter Self. I can kind of change myself to suit my needs. And Levitate. That seems like a fun thing to be able to do. And once again, our number of prepared and available spells goes up because we leveled up. So now we're level 3 wizard with a +3 intelligence modifier. So of all of these spells I know, I can prepare 6. Well, let's prepare both of these just because they're new and I probably want to use them today. And then 4 more of these. Go-to spell there. A little extra life, shield, and Featherfall. Let's keep it utility. So now I know it looks like I've done 4 here because of this and 2 here because of this. That's not the case. Let's say today I don't feel like changing, but Tensor's Floating Disc was awfully useful. So now I have 5 first level spells and 1 second level spell prepared from the spells that I have in my spell book. So it means I can cast Levitate twice, I can cast some of these 4 times any combo, or I could cast like Magic Missile using a second level spell slot. And you get that extra bonus of creating an extra Magic Missile because you used a second level spell slot. So that's always possible. You can cast lower level spells using upper level spell slots. So that's a wizard. You have spells in your spell book, and from those, each time you take a long rest, you can prepare spells from your spell book. Okay, but you only have a finite number of spells from which to choose. Let's examine, not the Bard yet, the Druid. Kind of similar to a wizard in that Druids prepare spells. So at level 1, so we're giving the same statistics here. Level 1 is a Druid. You know 2 cantrips, so we've got Thorncraft and Druid Whip. And you have 2 first level spell slots. Now, the spellcasting for a Druid states that each day, when you take a long rest, you can prepare a number of spells equal to your Druid level plus your spellcasting modifier. So again, our spellcasting modifier is a +3 with a 16 wisdom, this time for Druid wisdom. and level 1 so we can prepare 4 spells. Now, these spells come from the entire list of level 1 Druid spells, which means each day that you take a long rest as a Druid, you can choose from your entire list of Druid spells, level 1, and choose 4 of them to prepare. So you don't necessarily have to bubble things in here because you have access to all of these during that day. And then when you take a long rest, you can change it up. Say, I'm still level 1, but I don't like jump anymore. Long Strider is better. Or, we're not really charming people right now. It's kind of not that great, but we're encountering a lot of things where detecting magic would be useful. So you can change that every time you take a long rest. That's the usefulness of a Druid. You have the entire spell list from which to choose. Now, as you level up, same thing. We'll say we're level 2 now. We have 3 spell slots available. And now, because you leveled up, you have your spellcasting modifier of +3 and your Druid level of 2. So now, every time you wake up, you can prepare 5 spells. Let's take Animal Friendship. So 5 spells. Every time you take a long rest, you can go back to the first level spells Druid list and prepare 5 new spells. All right, slight difference depending on which circle your Druid takes. At level 3, if you take a Circle of the Land, Druids who take Circle of the Land get automatically prepared spells. So I'm going to delete this for a second. At level 3, you automatically and always have prepared Bark Skin and Spider Climb. So these do not count against the number of spells you can prepare each day, but they are always prepared. In this case, I would bubble those in so you remember, hey, I shouldn't erase those, they're always prepared. Clerics do something similar. Depending on what domain you take as a cleric, you get automatically prepared spells. And it works the same way in that you're preparing a certain number each day. So as a level 3 Druid with a +3 spellcasting modifier, now we can prepare 6 spells from any combo of levels 1 and 2. And these automatically prepared spells do not count against that 6. So we'll take Healing Word, Thunder Wave, in case we get surrounded by something, and why not Speak with Animals. So we thought this would be a little more useful this time around. And we're going to supplement down here with a level 2 spell. We'll say Spike Growth. Now that's 4 spells. We'll say we'll give another second level spell. Second level Lesser Restoration, in case someone gets into something they shouldn't. And we'll take back a level 1 spell of Fog Cloud. So that's a Druid. Each day you wake up, you can prepare a number of spells equal to your spellcasting modifier plus your Druid level. And then as far as bubbling things in, that mostly will only apply to your automatically prepared spells if you're a Circle of the Land Druid. Now, Bards. The spellcasting and keeping track of your spells, the way a Bard does it, will also apply to Rangers, Arcane Tricksters, Eldritch Knight, Sorcerer, Warlock, anything that says, and I'll show you a picture of it. Well, this is a wizard. Let's look at this first. Spell slots. So we'll go to the Bard. On the Bard chart, this says spells known. All right, that's the kicker. So as a Bard, level 1, we get 2 cantrips. So we have Friends and Vicious Mockery, and 4 spells. And you have 2 first level spell slots. So what that means is 4 spells. You look at the level 1 list of Bard spells, you pick 4 of them, and you know them. You're more stuck with the spells that you choose as a Bard or one of those other spellcasters that I mentioned. It's not prepared. It's just spells that you know. They are essentially prepared, but you don't. It's not phrased that way. You just know these spells. You've studied things, and you just know these spells intrinsically. And you have 2 first level spell slots. So that's how many times you could cast those spells at level 1. Level 2, automatically you get a 3rd spell slot, and you have to go back to your chart. And at level 2, now you know 5 spells. Oh, so we go to our Bard, and we pick up a 5th spell, Identify. It falls to us to figure things out. So the Bard, now we know Identify. Now, also, every time you level up as a Bard, you can choose 1 spell that you know and replace it with something else. So say we got to level 2, we now know Identify, but Disguise Self, it just wasn't really worth it, and it would be more useful to know Fairy Fire, because it gives us advantage on attacks. So that is how you change your spells out as a Bard. Every time you level up, you can replace one that you know with a different one. And then again, level 3, going to kind of be the same way. 2 spell slots at level 2, and you check your sheet at level 3, you know 6 spells. And now you can choose a level 2 spell. So we grab 1 level 2 spell as a Bard. Let's say Heat Metal, because that's a very fun spell. And that's how it sits. Now again, at level 3, you've leveled up. If you want another level 2 spell at level 3, you're going to have to change out one of the ones that you know up here. So, hope that makes sense. And again, that applies to Bards, Rangers, Arcane Tricksters, Eldritch Knight, Sorcerer, Warlock, any spellcaster that says you have a certain number of spells known. You're not preparing them, you're not changing them up on a daily basis. The only time you can change out Bard spells or one of those classes is when you level up. Other than that, you gain a certain number of spells at each level, and you change them out as you level up. So, I hope that little tutorial kind of got you through some spell casting. Hope you're able to figure out what your character is doing with their spells and how to use them. All right, see you guys next time.